Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. It's been a while, at least a week or so. I have some thoughts and some interesting things happened this past week. But I want to start with basically, again, who are we and why are we here? We're light workers. We're Jim Kim Fu. We're here to serve the light, and that's why we're here. We're multidimensional beings here on a purpose, on a mission. And we can, we basically, in order to do that, you have to embrace that reality of who you are. As long as you can still consider yourself a small, story struggling human, your reality will give you that. The universe rearranges itself to accommodate your picture of reality. Whatever you call real, whatever you focus on, the universe will rearrange itself to give you exactly that. Very lovingly and dispassionately give you exactly that. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can adjust this just a tad. Okay, a little bit better. Okay, so anyway, again, we have to constantly, and I don't mean to be rude and harsh, but now's the time to engage. Now's the time to truly engage. Uh, I think I'm going to do, well, my next bullet point was raise your vibration. And I keep saying that. I keep going on about that. And, there's many tools that you can use. I've shared with what I found works best for me, given to me by Hilarious. And just before I started recording this, just out of curiosity, make sure I'm not talking at my ass, I went back and I looked at all of the past videos, and specifically the one called Rescinding the Vows. And that was so intense, I think after about a half hour, I wasn't done, so I ended that and recorded another video to continue my train of thought, and that was another 17, 19 minutes long. Those two videos got a total of 4 views. And what that tells me, people, is some of you who are viewing these videos, subscribe to this channel, not really serious, because I can look at what are the most popular videos. Uh, Fifth dimensional mind, imagination, your fifth dimensional mind. That has the most views. Then there's others, but the ones that I personally feel are like the most pertinent are the ones with the least amount of views. And that's, again, I've said from the very beginning, I'm not an outside authority. I don't want you guys to look at me and view me and hold me as an outside authority. Your only authority is vertical, your higher self, your big me or the big you, that's your authority. And that's where you need to be getting, you have your focus. Well, in order to raise your vibration, and in order to, well, it's paradoxically one without the other. You can't raise your vibration if you're not focusing on your higher self, your big you, but without your big you can't raise your vibration, because it's not something that the little you can do. You have to trust. Just like you trusted as a child, Jesus says, have the faith of a little child. You have to trust the big you. It's not you doing it. But it is you doing it. It's very paradoxically, that's why we sent us the very best, Shrim Kim Fu. What we do is we incarnate into this dimension, and we take on a human body and a human form, and everything that goes along with that, all the idiosyncrasies, all the distortional structures, everything that about being human. We take all that on. We're basically behind the lines collecting data in the enemy territory, for lack of a better phrase. But it isn't a war. It is a war, But our presence here isn't to conquer, it's to defeat the light. But in order to do that, we have to take on the structures, the old distortional structures of the old way that it is, because the cabal slash dark has been running this show for thousands of years. So we come into human bodies, we take on the form, we grow up in this distortional system, we collect all this data, what it's about to live in this distortional system in 3D, and then when our light codes go off at a certain time, which we set up, then we start waking up. We start remembering who we are and why we're here. And then, utilizing the tools, the multidimensional tools, we break out of the old structures in consciousness, the old, quote, ways that it is. And rescinding the vows, as far as I know, is the most dynamic tool that Hilarious gave me to work with. One of the many reasons why I am who I am now, can say what I say now, and know what I'm talking about because I haven't done it. I'm not telling you what you should do. I'm showing you how to do it with the rescinding of vows. But I noticed that out of the 2 videos that covered rescinding the vows, and actually there was even an earlier one that only got like 5 views. It's almost like when you guys have to really buckle down to do some work, you're not interested. But when I talk about twin flames, my perspective on twin flames or imagination, your 5th dimensional mind, yeah, everybody, they get tons of, not tons, but, maximum amount of views, considering, who I am and how many viewers I have, a handful. But, it's somewhat discouraging, but I'm going to soldier on, because that's what I'm been led to do. But I don't mean to be like admonishing you or chewing you out, but I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend you guys do the work. You have to do the work. You, both of you, the little you and the big you, have to do the work. You will do the work by the guidance of the big you, but the little you, with the help of the big you, has to do the work, because those vows are binding. They're binding across dimensionality. They're binding across time. And if you don't formally rescind them, they're still binding. The universe will still honor them. And the bulk of them are unconscious to you. So you have to trust the big you to bring them up, to remove the veils, because you can't remove the veils, I've said many times, because you didn't put them there. But the big you will remove the veils, and you will see. You will see what the distortional vows are, the distortional structures that you're operating in, and then you utilize the tool, rescinding the vows, and send it to the light. And then the big you will replace those old vows with more light-filled structures and frequencies. And then your frequency gradually raises. And the higher it gets, the easier it is to communicate with Big Me, the Big You. And that will lead me into my next point. I touched on stop being a spectator, which is what I wrote down. Stop being a spectator. Utilize these tools and be a participant. Be the warrior, the light warrior that you are. You're not just a cute little light worker, and I'm serious about this one. They're in the New Age community, and I've been in this for 30 plus years now. In the New Age community, there's a section that of light workers, the New Age / community that's basically rainbows and fairy dust, or what they call them, unicorn farts, like that. Well, yeah, that's all well and good, but that's not us. It's not haphazard. My name is Michael. I work under the auspices of Archangel Michael. I know who my boss is. And he's not a wuss. He doesn't run around farting unicorn dust and sprinkling fairy dust and rainbows and shit like that around. Look at Archangel Michael. Imagine him standing about 10, 12, 14 foot tall. You know, radiant light. And he's got a shield. And he's got a sword. And he wields that flaming sword. He is an angelic warrior. It took me a while to accept that about me because we have been, one of the distortional structures is angels are all effeminate and yada, yada, yada. Either women or effeminate. Nah, you can't say that about Archangel Michael. And most of the other ones. Raphael and Gabriel and the rest of them. You can't say that about them. No. Metatron. You can't say that. They're not effeminate, women. Or effeminate, quote, men. No, that's not true. They're light warriors. Not light workers, light warriors. And I know who I am. So I'm going to extrapolate. If you're listening to me and you resonate with my message, then I would strongly suggest you consider the possibility that you too are a light warrior. Not a light worker that sits back and does this and does that. No, we're on the front lines. We're Jim Kim Fu. We're special forces. Okay, this is why I am as intense as I am. Because I know who I am. I know why I'm here. And it's really time to get off the pot, folks. Imagine a year ago, this time last year, we were just going through finishing up the Mueller report in Washington. Turned out to be a nothing burger. So right after that, they started with the Ukraine thing, the July 25th call. They started with that. That led to impeachment. Now, a year ago, if I was to tell you about what we'd experienced in 2020, starting with the impeachment in January, you'd think I was nuts. And look at it's like we've been through 5 years of time just in the last 7.5 months, or 6.5 months. This has been a crazy, crazy year. Like the Federation of Light, they refer to as topsy-turvy. I was just thinking a little while ago that I don't listen to the mainstream media, but there's a few channels, conservative channels that I follow, who they pay attention to the mainstream media, and they quote, and they use the mainstream media as a source, even though the mainstream media is, quote, left, and they're from the right, but they still use that as their source, and they're just scratching their heads like, what the hell's going on? But if you haven't raised your vibration, if you haven't incorporated and embraced Q, you don't know. And that's why everything's so stupid. I was telling a friend of mine right now, one of my housemates actually who's waking up, I was telling him the other night, Q is the only thing that keeps me sane, at least in this third dimensional world, where I don't flip out and go, it's going to pot. The world's going to hell in a handbasket, because I know the Q team, Trump and the Q team, they have control. They have complete control. But you can tell a tree by the fruit that it bears. You can't tell them what's going on. You have to let the populace see. I've always used an axiom of my life, watch what they do, not what they say, watch what they do. And it will reveal, the person's true nature if you watch what they do. Actions speak louder than words. That's where all of this comes from. So you guys, I'm going to do, I made it in my mind a little while ago when I was going over, reviewing some stuff before I recorded this, and I am going to do another video on rescinding the vows. And hopefully, because it's been 8 months since the last one I did, there might be a whole new batch of people following. So I'm going to do another video on rescinding the vows, which I say, again, as far as I'm concerned, is the most dynamic tool in my spiritual toolbox. Okay, and that came straight from Hilarious. And I've heard nobody else, I've heard a couple people within the last year or two share something similar. But that's how far Hilarious was ahead. That's how far I'm ahead, because we set it up that my light codes went off a while ago. 25, 30 years prior to the awakening now. The awakening now is literally happening, and that's why there's me and a bunch of others of us on the planet that woke up then, did the work, and now we're here as way showers to show the rest of you how to do it. Because this is a worldwide phenomenon. The whole planet is waking up because the whole planet is going to ascend. Okay, so what was my next point? Yeah, okay, well, being in touch with the larger self. Rescinding the vowels is going to help with that because it really works. Being consciously in touch with your higher self to know, because the Bible says, "Be still and know that I'm God." Well, that's through meditation and just the fact that your frequency is raised. See, like big U's way up here and the little U's way down here. But by doing the work, you raise your vibration and you get closer and closer to where you can hear the big U a lot clearer, and you trust the data. You guys hear me all the time. Trust your data. Well, I got to the point where years ago I got to the point where I trust my data. Okay, and that you can get there too. I am nobody special. Okay, and I'm one of us. I'm one of you guys. It's just that my light codes went off earlier, and it was purposefully designed for that to be that way. And here you guys are now listening to me. Okay, triggering. I got so triggered. I'm serious. See, and it was very purposeful that I got triggered. But I was in a place to where I could deal with that triggering. But I got so triggered. Because, and that will go into my next point, crop circles, my last point. But I got so triggered early this week by some people were talking, just bragging on crop circles. Yada. Ah, that's a man-made one. Ah, that one's fake, and this and that. And then I'm thinking, well, you don't know that. I'm thinking to myself, you don't know that. That's just, that's you. That's your mental body making judgments, that's its job that's its job in the 3D, is to predict and control its environment. But there is more than just a third dimensional environment that we perceive with our five senses. But if that's all you know and that's what you call real, well, then your mental body is doing a fine job, attempting to predict and control your third dimensional environment. But outside of that, the mental body doesn't have a clue. Well, crop circles are well outside of the third dimensional mental body's purview. Third dimensionally, and I've been studying crop circles for at least 30 years since I've been awake. Okay, crop circles have been studied. Scientists have taken all of their equipment out to crop circles. This was back in the 90s when crop circles got really big, and I mean it was a big phenomenon. And then after it got too big, to where the cabal had to bring out Doug and Dave. Doug and Dave were these two English guys. At the time, they were in their mid-50s, early 60s, and beer-drinking English country guys, and they claimed to be the creators of the crop circles, and it was all a hoax. So as far as the mainstream media was concerned, crop circles were debunked. Doug and Dave did it, and they did it with, planks of wood, roughly about 4 foot long, with a rope tied to each end, and then looped over, and then they just held the rope with 1 foot on the board, and they stomped through the corn, through the grain fields, because there's different kinds of fields that we use, and I'm gonna say we, because we're the galactics, our future selves. But anyway, this is how they claimed, and obviously the mainstream media bought it because they're controlled by the cabal. The cabal did not want people focusing on what the hell are crop circles. Crop circles are way out of the third dimensional purview, regardless of who it is, whether it's you, the mainstream media, or the cabal. Crop circles are way outside of that. They, seriously. Study crop circles. I highly recommend. I don't recommend a whole lot of stuff, but I highly recommend, damn near homework, an assignment, folks. Study crop circles. Go back and do your research. There's a channel right now that I follow. It's Stonehenge Stonehenge Dronescapes. You can pause it and write it down. Pause the video and write it down. Stonehenge Dronescapes. Stonehenge Dronescapes. Uh, that's your quote assignment. Go to that channel, and at the very minimum, look at every one of their videos, starting with May 29th of this year, of 2020. You will not believe what May 29th, 2020 crop circle is. It's the first crop circle of the 2020 season, because there is only a certain time that the palette, the canvas for the crop circles to be done on is the grain fields. When the grain is too short, there's no definition. When the grain gets tall enough, the farmers come out and harvest it and cut it down to the ground level. So there's only a window of time that the canvas of the grain fields are good enough to give you the distinction and the definition of the crop circles. So May 29th crop circle in England was the first one of the quote 2020 season. I shit you not, it's a coronavirus. You look at it and that's what you see. It's the coronavirus, and then stemming down from it is a white blood cell. And the general consensus is that the future us's, the galactics that do the crop circles, were telling us, you guys got this. Your own immune system will beat the COVID-19, will beat the coronavirus. You don't need a vaccine. You don't need any. Human beings will adapt and deal with this, just like we do every other virus. You know, you hear about COVID-19. COVID-19 stands for coronavirus ID number 19. There's 18 previous. The common cold, the flu that we get every year is considered a coronavirus. And the mainstream media would want us to be fearful that this is this brand new thing come out to kill us and savage and ravage the earth. No. The human immune system will adapt. And that's what the very first crop circle of the 2020 season, the message given. You got to check this out, folks. And the reason I recommend because ever since then, we've been getting them at least almost daily, almost one a day, if not maybe skip a day or two. But and not just in England, there's crop circles all over the planet. Matter of fact, back to Doug and Dave. The day Doug and Dave came out public, the day they came out public and made the announcement, and the worldwide media, the mainstream media, grabbed it and, quote, debunked crop circles, 20 crop circles appeared that same night within that 24-hour period all over the world. So how did Doug and Dave get all over the world to do all these crop circles within 24 hours of them coming public and debunking it? See, it's total bullshit. So anyway, I highly recommend Stonehenge Dronescapes. That's your assignment, because there are light code activations. There are DNA activations. That is the future us, as the galactics, talking to us here on the ground. Talking to our future selves, talking to our current selves. You guys got to get these activations, okay? That's why I've been so impressed to share this with you, because that's part of not just what I say or what you hear from other people. You got to get these activations, these light code activations, directly from your future selves, okay? This is all tied together. So please, 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 go to this website and just take the time. You don't have to do it all in one sitting, but if it's yours to do, do. But take the time and go through each, and they're all less than 5 minutes long. But the music is perfectly done. The videography is perfectly done. It would just literally knock your socks off. As you're sitting there, you'll sometimes you'll tear up. I have. You'll feel movement, energetic movement all through your field, through your body, through your energetic cells. There are light code activations in the crop circles, and it's time for you guys to interact with that data. Okay? Please, please, please go do this. Okay? Now, what happened with me, I got so triggered because people were ragging on, yada, yada, yada. And then this one guy who was the biggest, uh, what do I want to say, whatever, biggest jerk. He was going on and on and on, so I just couldn't stand the strain. I went into the small story, and I got back at him, and I wrote out this long piece, and I don't see so well, so it took me a while to type it all out and get my punctuation all correct, because I'm a perfectionist, OCD type person. But I was maybe 2 words from ending the sentence and clicking, comment, so that it would upload my comment, and my computer just kicked me right off of YouTube, went back to my home, went back to my screensaver. I had to knock me completely offline. And I looked at that and I went, thank you, Spirit. Because I saw myself go right in. I went deep into the small story, getting triggered, and then I was going to come back with vengeance and just chew this guy out, and Big Me stopped me. And I immediately saw exactly what the larger me did. Stopped me, but allowed me to go through and speak for the energy. This is my last piece. This is what we do, and this is what Hilarious called it, speaking for the energy. I got triggered here at the house earlier that same week, last week. I got triggered here in my household, people I live with. And one of the guys said something about me, implying something else that was quite derogatory. And it's like, when I was told about it, it's like, oh, hell no, this nigga needs to be, excuse my French, but that's who I am, old school black guy. I said, this guy needs to be straightened out, And I went off. I just flat went off. And the guy that told me about it, my landlord, my friend, Fernando, he told me about what this other household member said. And I just, I was going to set his ass straight. And I went off and I just vented. I just, yada, yada, yada. And then about within 12 hours, Fernando left, went back, to visit his family. And I texted him, I'm not going to say anything to the other guy. But I had to just vent and get that out. And that's what Hilarious calls speaking for the energy. You can, because we, as Drim Kim Fu, as PTMs, like I said in the beginning of this, we come in here, we collect this data, we embody this, and for a period of time while we're still asleep, we call it real, we call it us. But then when we start waking up, we realize, no, it's not us. It's just distortional structures operating through us. And then when we, quote, catch these distortional structures, we can grab them, transmute them, and send them to the light. And every time you do that, you raise your vibration just a little bit higher, and you raise the vibration of the planet just a little bit higher. That's the work we do down here in the trenches. And that's just called speaking for the energy. You can vent and you can rant and rave and you can just get it out of your system because you've embodied this for all the years that you've been on the planet, plan human. You've embodied all these distortions. And when they come up, feel them. Don't bury them. Don't bury them. Don't call them, no, that's not real. Because the more you negate it and not recognize it, the more energy you get to suppressing it. And you give it energy by suppressing it. By accepting it and just letting that negative energy flow through you, and as it's flowing through you, you recognize what it is, just negative distortional structures, energetic structures, and then the presence of mind, because your vibration's rising and you're closer in touch with Big Self, you take that energy, that negative energy, and you transmute it into light energy, and you send it to the light. And that's what we do on a daily basis. Speaking for the energy is one of the other technologies. I will incorporate that again when I do the video on rescinding the vows. But I think that's going to be the next video I do, rescinding the vows. Won't be too long. It won't be another week from now, okay? Because I see and I feel in my gut, I feel the need for it, because I love you guys so much. I want you to be as successful light warriors that you can be. And as your quote trainer, for lack of a better phrase, I need to train you, get you the best equipped, okay, so that you can do your job the very best. Because we are here to do a job. This isn't completely who we are. These human suits. This isn't who we are. We're here to do some work, to do a job. We have a mission. So with that, I'm going to close. Again, if it's yours to do, if you haven't already, if it's your first time viewing me, please subscribe. If you already have and it's yours to do, please share this video with somebody of like mind that you think would be interested. Please give it a like so that the algorithms can put it on more people's feed. And I will see you next time. As always, I love you and blessings on your journey.